call this meeting of the North Adams City Council to order for April 8th, 2025. This meeting can be viewed live on the Northern Berkshire Community Television Station, channel 1303, and will be posted to their website as soon as possible. We will also be live streaming on YouTube at www.youtube.com/@NorthAdams. Just click on the live, then on the 2025.04.08 City Council meeting. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Blackmer?
Yes.
Here.
Here.
Green?
Here.
Fitch?
Here.
Morrow is absent. Alaskowitz?
Here.
Shade is absent. Wilkinson?
Here.
Sapienza?
Here.
7 present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Please stand for a moment of silent remembrance. And the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Approval of the meeting minutes for March 11th, 2025. Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve? Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Hearing of visitors on the agenda. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the council for 2 minutes regarding items listed on the agenda. As a reminder, I will tap the gavel when you have reached the 2-minute limit to signal that your time is ended. And as a courtesy, I also ask that all parties please refrain from any personal attacks. Anybody for hearing of visitors? Seeing none. Council paper number 12,469, an ordinance to amend the revised ordinances of North Adams, Chapter 2, Article 2028, Sections 103 to 107, establishing the Animal Control Commission, referred to Public Safety Committee with a return date of April 8th, 2025.
A motion to postpone.
Okay, we have a motion to postpone to,
Second.
The first meeting in May, please.
okay, we have a motion to postpone first meeting in May. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Quick update, the Public Safety Committee has met preliminarily on this. We are not ready to bring it back to the full council, and we will be meeting prior to the first meeting in May, so we will have a public safety meeting between now and then. So we have a motion to postpone to the first meeting in May, and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Council paper number 12,471, an ordinance to amend the revised ordinances of the City of North Adams, Appendix Z, zoning regarding the addition of accessory dwelling units, ADUs, referred to General Government Committee with a return date of April 8, 2025. Councilor Alaskowitz, could you update us on this, please?
So on March 13th, the General Government Committee did meet, myself and Councilor Wilkinson. Councilor Shade was absent and she wasn't feeling well that night. We had some brief discussion on what the ordinance was and the need to get it onto our books as an ordinance so it could mirror Massachusetts general law, but there are some there's some changes that, well, I won't get into now, but we'll get there when we come into discussion. But it was determined that by a vote of 2, myself and Wayne Wilkinson, to return back to full council for a vote to pass this. So I would make a motion right now to refer this to have a joint public hearing with the planning board.
Okay, we have a motion to postpone this to a joint public hearing with the planning board. And I just want to make a note, Counselor Fitch has recused himself. He is in the business of short-term rentals. Counselor Blackmer.
I'm not sure if it's a postponement or calling for a joint.
Yeah, it's calling for a joint.
Calling for a
Okay.
joint public hearing
Okay.
with the planning board.
Okay, could
So
you
I made the,
restate your motion, please?
I
Yes.
make a motion to send this to a joint hearing with the planning board.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, Counselor
I'd
Blackmer?
like to amend it to a joint public hearing, just so there's no confusion.
Okay. All right.
Do a second on the motion.
Second on the motion. Okay. All in favor of the amendment to?
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Counselor Bona?
Do we need to set any time frame?
I think he's got to set a meeting with.
Well, I just don't know if you have to during this point.
At this point, I would send a letter to Brian McSick and find out when they can meet, when they can,
Well, so we
It's the
don't,
second Monday of the month.
yes, we can do that. Counselor Blackmer?
Well, there's also legal publishing things we have to do, so it definitely has to be a certain amount of time frame out. But you could ask them to get it back to us, but they have, what they'll do is we'll have the public hearing. The public can come, make their comments. After that, they have it on their agenda to discuss and make a recommendation. Then the chair sends a letter back to the chair of this city council, president of the city council, with their recommendations, which may be changes. Then we would go over it, probably refer it back to committee or not, and then adopt it with the changes or without them. But if we make any major changes, then I think we have to send it back to them again.
Okay.
But I guess we could have a date certain if you want.
yeah, I'm only wondering if we have to have a date so that when there's something on here, so when to hit back on the agenda, or do we just wait till the planning board does all their stuff? But usually, it isn't a postponement, it is sort of a postponement because we're I would probably have a date out, far enough. When you're on the planning board, so.
Yeah, I mean, we should be able to get it on the May 12th agenda, well, on May 12th, where usually we call the hearing at 5, the planning board meets at 6, and then they send it back. Sometimes we've tried, the problem is they meet the day before we do, and I think it's a little ridiculous to try and expect somebody to get something right back to us. But I would say we'd ask for maybe the second meeting, for them to have everything back to us by the second meeting in May, which would be the 20th.
So that would put that Monday on the 19th, would that be correct?
No, we want them to meet on their normal meeting of the 12th.
Oh, okay.
And then that gives us time, and then the chair time to write and kind of get because the planning board could say, we don't agree with this, we think we should do this, this, and this. I'm not going to ask somebody to have a meeting on Monday and get you a letter, because then it also won't be in our packet.
Right.
So he needs to get us the letter by, Wednesday we have to have our stuff in? So by the 14th?
Yeah.
So I would ask them to have it by the 14th so that we could put it on our agenda for the 20th.
Okay. So we could set the public hearing for the 20th, am I correct?
No.
No, that's the return date to council.
That's, that we're going to have, we would have
We set the public hearing for the 19th then?
No.
Would be the Monday.
for the
The
12th.
Okay, I got you.
But it's also up to them to set, I think it's also, we can make a recommendation, but they can set it for whatever they want.
Okay.
Asking for something from them by the 14th, by the when's our meeting? We meet on the 13th and the 27th, so we'd have to have something back from them by the 21st.
Right.
I'm sorry, I was looking at, it's not the 20th.
27th?
27th, they would come back. We would need something in writing from them by the 21st so that we can put it on our agenda.
So, I mean, a simple,
Sorry.
through the chair, a simple thing would be to continue, to have it the way it started, where it's to move this to a public hearing, and just put a return date on the second meeting in May. If it doesn't happen, then we postpone it from that
Yeah,
point.
we could do that.
So so I would just amend adding with a return date of the second meeting in May.
So I'll make a
Whatever that
motion
date
to
is.
amend my original motion to have a return date to council on the 27th of May.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay,
Two
now we
amendments.
will vote on the amendment to bring this back to the full council on 27th of May. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, back to the original motion to vote as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Council paper number 12,485, a communication from President Brian Sapienza presenting an ordinance approved by the Traffic Commission to remove a sign and language within the current City of North Adams ordinances, Chapter 13, Section 13-41, subparagraph D, subparagraph 2, entitled Obedience to Traffic Control Signals. I will read the communication into the record. The North Adams Police Department has requested that a no turn on red sign be removed at the southeasterly corner of the intersection of Center and Holden Streets. The purpose is to allow clearance of that intersection should an emergency vehicle need to exit that street in the event of an emergency. Currently, the prohibition of a right turn on red at that intersection can delay the response of an emergency vehicle from the police department. The sign is currently located adjacent to the public restaurant building on the southerly side of Center Street. This was brought before and approved by the Traffic Commission at the November 7th, 2024 meeting. The removal of the sign and a vote to send this to full council was approved at the March 19th, 2025 Public Safety Committee meeting. And I will file a paper to, in order to remove the sign, I will file a paper to amend the following ordinance, Section 13-41D2, entitled Obedience to Traffic Control Signals. Under this section, the proposed amendment would remove the language to remove the prohibition of a right turn on red signal at this part of the intersection as follows. It reads, Artery, Center, and Holden Streets, and we are going to remove the words east and, so that the sign is, it's still a westbound, so the eastbound traffic on Center Street would still be able to move and make a right turn at that intersection. Okay. Council paper number 12,485, an ordinance to amend the revised ordinances of the City of North Adams, Chapter 13, Section 13-41-D-2, entitled Obedience to Traffic Control Signals. And I'm going to read the ordinance into the record. And this will also have to be amended because the Artery Street does not exist anymore in any of the official documents. So any references to Artery Street, it's recommended that we change that to Veterans Memorial Drive, and we'll have to do that as an amendment to this. So the original ordinance reads, after Artery, Center, and Holden Streets, delete the following: east and westbound, replace with westbound. And can we get a motion?
Point of order.
Councilor
I
Ball?
just would like to also mention, in case people noticed the form change, so in your online, if you looked online, the ordinance was on an order paper. We do have the correct one in front of us, so, which is for the ordinance. So That was just a slight change. So
Okay.
we do have the correct paper in front of us.
Right, yep. So we need a motion to pass to a second reading and publish as required by law, but we need to amend this first. So we need a motion, no,
Motion to accept the amendment.
motion to accept the amendment,
Second.
okay?
And again, main reason is artery doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist, actually, it never existed. We checked that earlier, it never existed in our historical records.
Even prior to Route 2 and the bridge?
Yeah. And where was Scully's? Yes, Clerk Ignazio, did you want to add to that, or?
It was in our historical, I just couldn't pull them up
Right.
online to see where it was. We were trying to figure out where it was. I was trying to pull up historical online, couldn't pull it up. But in our street listing
Right.
for historical, it was there.
Probably was there before Route 2 and all that development on that side, yeah.
It was, yeah, it was way back. Okay, so we have a motion to pass to a second reading and publish as required by law as amended. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Was that the amendment or the,
Okay. Well, we made a motion to go as amended.
oh, as amended? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So that should cover it. Anybody, do you have your hand up at all? No, okay. Thanks. All right. Council paper number 12,486, communication number 103 from Mayor Maxey announcing appointments to various boards and/or commissions. Mayor?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the time. I'm pleased to announce that we are appointing the following people to boards and commissions. Virginia Reel to Planning Board, Sal Moran to Mass MoCA, and Don Nelson to the Mass MoCA Commission. I thank these individuals for stepping up and volunteering their service to help us move North Adams forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, committee reports and minutes. Moving on. We have no taxi licenses tonight. Open forum. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the council for 2 minutes on issues of municipal significance. As a reminder, I will tap the gavel when you have reached the 2-minute limit to signal that your time has ended. And as a courtesy, I also ask that all parties please refrain from any personal attacks. Anybody for open forum tonight? Please step up to the mic, state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Good evening. Patrick Bolger, 8 William Street, North Adams. I'm here this evening with the great pleasure of announcing yet another great project being done by Drury High School students this year. It is the Senior Citizens Prom. Some of you may remember the prom from years past. I took a little vacation for a few years, but we are so happy to have it back, and the students are doing some unbelievably great work, as always, as they always do, I should say. This year, and I do have some flyers here for you, if you are interested after the meeting. The theme is Lights, Camera, Action, Red Carpet. This year it's going to be Wednesday, May 21st from 5 to 7 at the North Adams American Legion at 91 American Legion Drive. Very proud of the students, as always, with the work that they do in projects like this. They represent our city with great pride and passion. I would also like to formally invite each and every one of you to attend that evening, and the administration, of course. However, I'm going to be very emphatically clear that I'm not implying that any or all of you are age eligible to attend. I do not want that call from the mayor's office or superintendent tomorrow. But I would like to extend an open public invitation to the public as I have this forum right now. Don't want to violate any rules, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I am going to hang out until after the meeting. So if you have any questions about that, or you'd like a flyer to take for yourself to distribute or spread the word, we would be more than grateful for that. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
If he wants to leave, I can post it.
Okay. If you'd like to leave a flyer, Clerk Lee Nazio can post it for you if you'd like to. But you're also welcome to stay after the meeting if anybody has any questions. Yep. Anybody else for open forum? Okay. Mayor's updates.
I'm going to go real slow. I'm kidding. I won't quit my day job. So good evening, everyone, again. Some fun stuff to start. On Saturday, May 12th, we have our Easter Festival at the Armory. Please join us for some fun-filled Easter Bunny activities on Saturday, April 12th from 10 to 1. This event is sponsored by the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition and the City of North Adams and promises to be a joyful time for all ages. So we will have the Easter Bunny, face painting, photos, arts and crafts, games, and much more. Now going into the not-so-fun stuff. As you know, spring is here, believe it or not, even though we had snow flurries this morning, and so are the potholes. If you spot a pothole that needs attention, please report it by calling the city yard at 662-3157. Currently, our road crews have been hauling material from West Sand Lake, which is about a 3-hour round trip, which limits the amount of blacktop we can pick up each day. The good news is that the Pittsfield Supply Center is expected to open around April 15th. Once it does, we will be able to accelerate our repairs significantly. So we appreciate your patience. We ask for your continued patience as we work diligently to address our road conditions. But it is pothole season, if someone didn't know that. Also, next week, we're going to be kicking off a project to insulate City Hall with spray foam. The project is going to run approximately 2 weeks. We received a grant through the Green Communities to do half of the building last year, and we're doing the other half between April 14th and September 25th. During this time, the second floor offices will be either temporarily closed or relocated. Most of the staff will be operating remotely. We anticipate minimal disruption on the first floor, but please be aware that the second floor will be inaccessible during this time, so no meetings upstairs. City Hall will remain open and operational, but visitors may notice some unusual odors on the first floor due to insulation materials. We appreciate your patience, but this will be a short time that we will get a big impact, hopefully, in our heating bills moving forward. And lastly, I'm very sad, and I do say this with mixed emotions, that I share that Mike Nuvali will be retiring at the end of this fiscal year. We thank Mike for his 37 years of dedicated service to the City of North Adams. We know his countless contributions have been invaluable through the Community Development Office, and he will be greatly missed. As we prepare for this transition, we are actively strategizing what our next steps are for that entire department, as well as filling the treasurer's role. More updates will follow in the next few weeks. So thank you.
Thank you. Liaison and counselors' updates. Counselor Blackmer?
I just wanted to remind people, you usually are getting emails from the MMA. I think we usually get one a day, several a week. In there are webinars that we can sign up for. There was one on assessing last week. There's one coming up on veterans benefits/issues. There's one on, there's been a bunch of them. I signed up for them. You can also, if you sign up for them, you can then access afterwards. So even if you miss it, they try and do them during lunchtime. They go from 12 to 1:15. So if you could catch part of it, or if you miss it, you can usually go to their website, and I think there's recordings. You just have to find them. I'm not sure. But I want people to be aware of that. They're helpful. They're informative. They give you information about things you might not be as much aware of. And sometimes they explain things in a way that someone else hasn't that clicks with you. So just, we pay our dues, we're part of the organization, we might as well get everything we can from it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Counselor Bona?
Another Drury prom thing is this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Drury High School is doing their play, Zombie Prom. And it's Friday, 7 PM, Saturday, 2 PM, and 7 PM. And it's sort of a spoof off of the Grease musical. And then also, MCLA has plays this week too, The Little Prince, and that runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so.
Thank you. Okay. Clerk Leonazio, do you have anything to update us with?
I do not.
Okay. Any correspondence? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.